started. Deadlift, best exercise in the world. Fight me on it. All right, the way we're gonna do this is I'm going to go through all of the deadlift cues, because if you've ever done a deadlift before, you know there's a lot of them to remember. I'm gonna go through them kind of down and dirty style. I'm just gonna walk you through every single one without a lot of explanation, just in case you only need a reminder. And if you don't, if you want a more thorough breakdown of each of those cues, that's gonna come next, all right? So let's get started down and dirty style. Before we get into that, I want to let you know that if you are deadlifting, conventional deadlifting, please make sure you have bumper plates. I don't want to see anybody using those small round metal plates to deadlift. I don't care what your reasoning is. If you only have small round metal plates, then don't do a conventional deadlift. Do a different exercise, okay? But if you're doing a conventional deadlift, please make sure you have a bumper plate. Even if it's only a 5 or 10 pound bumper plate, you need that bar up a certain height in order to be able to execute this properly, okay? All right, let's get started. So, down and dirty. You're gonna approach the bar. Feet are hip width apart, toes are pointing forward. When you look down, you're gonna see the bar directly over your shoelaces. If you have funky shoes, where they tie, by the way, where your shoelaces tie. If you have funky shoes, or if you're not wearing shoes, which is also fine, the goal is gonna be to get it over mid-foot. So right over your mid-foot is where you want the bar to start. Then we're going to hinge at the hips, bring your hands down, grab the bar. You're gonna bring your knees forward just enough so that the shins touch your bar. Your bar is not going to move at all. A stable bar is what we want. If you set up properly, the bar shouldn't move. Grab the bar, squeeze the lats like you have oranges in them. Take a big deep belly breath, core breathing. Pull on the bar to create tension. And then you're gonna push the ground away from you. All right, it's a leg press on the way up. Then we're hip thrust at lockout. RDL on the way down. As soon as we clear your knees, let them come forward and drop to position. Release and relax and re-brace. Big deep belly breath in, expand the core. Lock your lats, pull the tension out of the bar, push the ground away, hip thrust, RDL on the way down, clear your knees and come back down. Perfect. You'll notice the entire time I had a neutral spine. I wasn't looking up. I wasn't looking down. I was neutral the entire time. Very important. Okay, let's go through all of that again a little bit slower. I'm gonna break down each cue and why it's important and expand on it just a little bit. So when you're approaching the bar, we want the bar to be over where your shoelaces tie. The reason for this is because that's typically where the middle of your foot is. We want the bar in the middle of your foot because we want the weight aligned with the center of gravity so that we're not putting the weight all on your low back and we're able to get it up effectively. So if the bar starts over here and we're lifting like this, the bar is gonna be too far away from your body and it won't be center lined, and all that weight when you pull it is gonna be in your low back. We don't want that, we're trying to avoid that. If you have the weight too close to you and you're too wedged in, you're gonna hit your knees on the way up, because you see how far forward my knees are? So following the exact cues that I told you in setup are gonna prevent both of those things from happening. So if you have the bar over the middle of your foot and then you bring your shins, your knees forward just enough so your shins touch, that for your body should be your ideal stance so that you're able to get it up effectively, okay? Another and really important piece that you need to remember when you're deadlifting is to keep the bar close to your body the whole time. So the bar is literally going to be brushing your legs the entire time, if not pressing completely on your legs. So what I like to tell our clients is I want you to imagine that the bar is like brushing your leg hairs on the way up. So it shouldn't be rubbing against your leg necessarily, but there also shouldn't be much space in between your leg and the bar. And that's gonna ensure that, especially as the weight gets heavier, because the deadlift is meant to be a strength building exercise, so we want the weight to get heavier. That's gonna be much harder if you don't have all of those cues down, because that weight's gonna go into your low back, okay? So toes pointed forward, feet are hip width apart, the bar's over your midfoot. Then when we bring the knees forward so that the shins touch the bar, we should also be able to grab the bar. Now all of the things that come now, there's a powerful 1, 2, 3 punch combo here, are really, really important. Those three things are locking your lats in place. So by locking your lats, and the cue for this is, imagine you have an orange in your armpits and you're trying to squeeze the oranges to make orange juice, okay? That's gonna help set your shoulders where they should be in a neutral position without having to actually think about your shoulders. Because the mistake a lot of people make is they pull their shoulders back, and we actually don't want to do this. This is actually going to create instability in a exercise like a deadlift. Whereas in a row or something like that, we might want the shoulders pulled back for other reasons, but not in a deadlift. You just want your shoulders in a neutral position, and you want your lats locked to protect that whole area, okay? So we're locking the lats, and then we're also going to take a big deep belly breath in and properly brace. If you do not know how to properly brace, or even if you think you do, please go watch my core bracing video. I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to do it. But essentially you want to expand in a 360 way in your torso. So instead of just tightening here, you're actually going to expand, and it's gonna be 360 degrees. You should feel the expansion in the back as well. If you pinch your sides, you should feel your thumb move, okay? You're gonna imagine that your core is like a shaken soda can. We wanna create that intra-abdominal pressure in the soda can that is your torso, okay? So locking your lats, properly bracing. The third one is pulling the slack out of the bar. So this is a way to create tension without actually the bar leaving the ground. And what this helps do is it helps to ensure that you're not just pulling the bar up with your low back or just standing up or ripping that bar off the ground, all of which are going to put too much pressure in your low back. Now, I want to let you know, the deadlift does work your lower back. It is normal to have soreness in your low back, in all of this muscle area right here. It is working, but it shouldn't be doing the majority of the work. And it is very easy to allow your low back to do the majority of the work if you're not following all of these cues. So we want our quads, hamstrings, and glutes to be doing the majority of the work, and all of these cues help to do that, okay? So when we're down here in this position, you've followed the shins and the feet and all of that stuff. After you take your big deep belly breath and lock your lats, we're actually gonna pull on the bar. You should hear a clink. You hear that? You're pulling on the bar and you're creating tension before the bar even lifts off the ground. You're gonna feel your quads tight, your hams tight, your glutes tight, everything should be tight. Arms stay nice and straight. I want you to imagine that your arms are just chains and your hands are hooks. And the only thing getting that bar to move off the ground is not you pulling on it, it's you pushing the ground away, okay? It's not you pulling on it, it's you pushing the ground away, all right? So when we're down here, after we create that tension, I want you to imagine that you're pushing the ground away from you, and the bar is gonna lift as you do that. So you're gonna push your feet into the floor and push the ground away from you. So in the initiation, it's a leg press, and then you'll notice that my knees kind of naturally got out of the way on the way up, so they were forward, but as you stand up, they naturally go back over top of your ankles. As soon as you clear your knees, it's a hip thrust, okay? And this is an important point too, because again, a lot of people just pull the bar up and they stand up, all low back. We're not pulling the bar, we're pushing the bar into standing position. And as soon as you clear your knees, you're gonna hip thrust it forward to ensure we're still using glutes and hamstrings. So watch it again, brace, tension, and lats. Leg press the bar, push the ground away, hip thrust it at lockout, okay? Now on the way down, we wanna reverse engineer it. So RDL on the way down, Romanian deadlift, as soon as your knees are cleared, bring them forward and drop it down. You don't really need to control the bar after it's cleared your knees. You can go ahead and drop it down and come back into your position, but we want it controlled from here to here. As soon as we clear your knees, we can drop it back down, okay? And you'll notice the entire time I had a neutral spine, okay? So I wasn't looking up, I wasn't looking down. The entire time, you want your spine all the way up to where it meets your skull to be completely neutral. So let's go through that again. Approach the bar without falling. Bar over your shoelaces, knees forward, shins touch the bar. Grab the bar with both hands, set your lats, pull on the bar to create tension. Take a big deep belly breath in, expand all around. Press the ground away, hip thrust it at lockout. RDL on the way down, clear the knees, drop it down. Again, relax and rebrace. Yes, you can let your breath out at the top. All right, that's a deadlift. Definitely go practice. Screenshot this right here. This is a list of all of the cues I went through from the foot all the way up to the top. So you can refer to this anytime you need it. Hope that was helpful. See you soon.